The moment itself is silent. There is no explosion, no flash of light, no warning signal. Electricity simply stops existing. Not power grids failing, not blackouts, not infrastructure damage. Electricity itself is gone. Every current ceases instantly. Electrons no longer flow. The force that powered modern civilization vanishes from reality. At first, it feels like an ordinary blackout. Lights go out, screens turn black, elevators stop, air conditioners fall silent. People wait, expecting generators to kick in. They never do. Cars stall in place. Engines die as ignition systems fail. Aircraft drop from the sky within seconds. Trains halt mid-track. Ships lose navigation and propulsion simultaneously. Panic spreads as people realize this is not a temporary outage. Hospitals are hit immediately. Life support systems shut down. Ventilators stop. Dialysis machines fail. Operating rooms freeze mid-procedure. Backup generators do nothing. They rely on electricity too. Within minutes, doctors are forced to make impossible choices as patients begin to die. Communication collapses. Phones are dead. Radios are silent. Satellites become inert objects drifting in orbit. The internet disappears instantly. Humanity loses its nervous system in a single second. Cities descend into chaos. Traffic lights are dark. Intersections become lethal. Subways trap passengers underground. Doors with electronic locks refuse to open. Fire alarms are useless. Emergency services are blind and deaf. At night, darkness is absolute. No streetlights, no illuminated windows, no glow from screens. Entire cities vanish into blackness so complete it feels physical. People realize how dependent they were on artificial light and how rare true darkness had become. Money becomes meaningless overnight. Digital accounts vanish. ATMs are dead. Credit cards are useless. Stock markets disappear without a trace. Wealth stored as numbers ceases to exist. Only physical objects retain value. Food systems begin to fail. Refrigeration stops. Frozen food begins to rot. Supply chains collapse immediately. Warehouses are locked behind electronic systems that no longer function. Fuel pumps cannot operate. Even accessing stored food becomes difficult. Water becomes a crisis. Pumping stations shut down. Water pressure drops, then disappears. Toilets stop working. Sewage systems back up. Clean water becomes scarce within days, especially in cities. Industry collapses instantly. Factories freeze mid-motion. Assembly lines stop forever. Machines designed around electric control systems are now useless metal. Modern tools become decorations. Medicine regresses by a century. Diagnostic equipment is gone. Imaging is impossible. Electronic records vanish. Doctors are forced to rely on memory and manual methods. Antibiotics still exist, but manufacturing and distribution collapse rapidly. Agriculture is thrown into shock. Modern farming relies on electric machinery, irrigation systems, and logistics. Crops remain in fields but cannot be harvested at scale. Livestock operations fail as feeding and water systems shut down. Military power evaporates. Advanced weapons systems rely on electronics. Guidance systems fail. Communication networks disappear. Modern armies become disorganized groups of individuals with limited capability. Governments lose control. Without communication, coordination is impossible. Emergency broadcasts cannot be delivered. Authority fractures as leaders cannot reach populations or each other. Local power structures emerge overnight. Psychologically, humanity breaks. People realize something fundamental has been lost. Not comfort, but capability. Electricity was not a convenience. It was the foundation of modern thought, organization, and survival. Night falls again. Candles appear. Fires are lit. The world smells of smoke for the first time in generations. Shadows return. Silence dominates cities once filled with digital noise. And as people sit in the dark, listening to a world that no longer hums, one truth becomes clear. Modern civilization was built on electricity. Without it, humanity has not lost progress. It has lost the structure that made progress possible. And this is only the beginning of what happens when all electricity suddenly disappears. As hours turn into days, humanity begins to understand that the loss of electricity is not a crisis that can be repaired. It is a permanent return to a world that no longer supports modern life. Cities become unlivable. Without water pumps, sewage systems fail completely. Waste accumulates in streets and buildings. Disease spreads quickly. Fire becomes the greatest threat. Cooking and heating rely on open flames, and without alarms or rapid response, entire neighborhoods burn unchecked. Mass evacuation begins. People flee cities on foot, bicycles, or animal transport. Roads clog with abandoned vehicles. Former highways become migration routes. Urban centers hollow out, turning into dark, dangerous shells. Food shortages accelerate. Within weeks, supermarkets are empty. Distribution is impossible at scale without refrigeration, fuel pumps, and logistics systems. Starvation begins in densely populated regions. Rural areas fare slightly better, but even their modern farming methods collapse.
Agriculture régresse dramatically.
Farming returns to manual labor. Yields drop sharply without irrigation systems, fertilizers, and machinery. Knowledge exists, but the capacity to act on it is gone. Feeding billions becomes impossible. Global population begins to decline steadily. Healthcare collapses almost entirely. Without sterile environments, electronic monitoring, or modern manufacturing, medicine becomes basic and limited. Many diseases once considered manageable become deadly again. Life expectancy drops rapidly. Knowledge begins to disappear. Digital records are gone forever. Libraries become priceless, but access is limited. Education becomes local and oral. Advanced science and engineering knowledge fades as tools to apply it no longer exist. Governments fragment. Large centralized states cannot function without communication and coordination. Power shifts to local leaders, communities, and militias. Borders lose meaning. Law becomes regional and inconsistent. Global trade ends. Ships still float, but navigation without electronics is slow and dangerous. International exchange collapses. Regions become isolated, dependent on what they can produce locally. The military becomes primitive. High-tech warfare is impossible. Conflicts revert to basic weapons and tactics. Wars become smaller in scale, but more brutal and personal. Culture transforms. Entertainment disappears. Music becomes acoustic. Stories are told by voice and memory. Nights are quiet, dark, and long. People rediscover boredom and fear. Psychologically, humanity grieves. Electricity was invisible, constant, taken for granted. Its absence feels like losing a sense rather than a tool. People mourn a world that no longer exists and never will again. Children grow up in a different reality. They never know screens, instant communication, or global connection. For them, the old world sounds like myth. Stories of glowing rectangles and invisible voices feel unreal. Over decades, a new equilibrium forms. Humanity survives, but smaller, slower, and less connected. Population stabilizes at a fraction of its former size. Technology plateaus at pre-electrical levels. Innovation exists, but within harsh limits. The planet itself grows quieter. No hum of transformers. No glow at night. No constant signal noise. Earth becomes darker and strangely calmer. The final realization is unavoidable. Electricity was not just power. It was memory, speed, coordination, and scale. Without it, humanity does not go extinct, but it becomes local again, fragile again, and permanently separated from the world it once built.